Welcome to the Phygital Dish, where we serve up fresh insights on how technology is bridging the gap between physical and digital, creating seamless and personalized interactions for businesses and consumers alike. Let's dig in.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. How about you, Courtney? Nice to see you again.
Yeah. So I'm doing well. And we're kind of going to break the fourth wall a little bit here because I think it's important as we're going through the year, understanding what we've learned and what we're going to bring into the rest of the year. And you and I were at a little show recently.
Just a teeny tiny one.
Yeah. So NRF, they call it the big show, right?
The big show. The big show. National Retail Federation.
Yeah. In January in New York every year.
In New York.
So we'll kind of do something a little different. It's not a specific topic or a talk track. It's really just let's just spitball. Let's have a dialogue on I think we saw the same things, but maybe we saw some things differently in some of the prevailing themes of NRF. But it was a big one, right? It was we saw a lot of tech. We saw a lot of people, 40,000 people. But I want to get into your experiences, your thoughts, and what you think you got out of NRF. Just chronologically coming in that first day. What was your thoughts? What was your experiences?
Yeah. Well, I actually started the week somewhere else, but I will say that very first day walking in with 40,000 people, I was reminded in Javits Center, they need about 18 more coffee shops. They need coffee everywhere. That's my opinion, right? That's my opinion. And they could just set out espresso machines. I'd be okay with grinding my own. But it is still amazing how long it takes to get a coffee when you walk into Javits during NRF. But no, all joking aside, I actually started the week on Saturday before the show on Sunday, and I attended an event that I had not attended before. It was the second year of the Retail Media Networks event. It is an off Showfloor event. They had it down at Chelsea Piers. I estimated that there were near 600 people there, maybe 600 people there.
Nice.
It's a very large event, and I have to say, there's lots of detail. We've talked about Retail Media Networks on the podcast before. The one thing I would say that's probably becoming a theme for me in some of the things I not only saw that day, but I'll talk about some of them from the floor as well, is some of these things that have been floating out in the world, like Retail Media Networks, are becoming very real. So there was real data around how to deploy. There was real data around what does 25 and 26 and 27 really look like from a revenue potential generating perspective. There were friends there that were from overseas that were talking about the manifestation of RMNs there. But I also just felt like there was a good buzz around tackling this idea of in-store retail media network, right? Not just web and mobile. So that was a big theme for me. When I got to the floor, I think everybody is scrambling because they're seeing more traffic, to be honest. Everybody said their stores were actually busy. There were, I don't know that all the data shows that, but actually the everybody I talked to said, "Hey, I've been in good shape. I'm in okay shape." And even though that I think there were some concerns coming out of 24 around just retail in general, I think it was good. I thought it was good overall, and we did see a lot of tech. I saw a lot of tech. But one thing that I will call out that I actually really liked at the show, we could talk about this at as we go through, and I'll let you kind of give your thoughts, high level thoughts as well. the addition of the food innovation
Yeah.
space,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think actually is super cool. I think it's really valuable, not only to the attendees that are there. I think it's very valuable to the industry. The
Mm-hmm.
the the parallel or even near crossing of the QSR fast casual sit down restaurant and the retail space over the years from a technology and integration perspective and customer journey perspective, it's that was actually a very powerful piece. And I think there were things that people learned in those spaces that have now been able to even further what they're looking at in the spaces like ours when they come back into the traditional NRF space. How about
Yeah.
you? What
Yeah.
did
And,
you
and
see?
I, well, a lot of a lot of that same stuff. I'm gonna come right back to it, but I've got to tell you as well. Walking in that first morning and placing my coffee order at 8:05 in the morning. You know what time I
Yeah.
picked it up? You know what time I picked it up?
I
Noon.
could.
I picked it up at noon.
The real
Yeah.
question was whether it was even warm then.
Oh, it's like I had 2 cups. And well, where's the rest of my 12 cups? And so so
Yeah.
we will figure it out one of these days. But I was talking to some of the people, from NRF, specifically the Security Council, and they said that all of their events, all of their things this year, their agendas were packed. There was tons of people there, so it was a very, very well attended event. I think we're getting back up to definitely pre-COVID numbers, and we're just going to see that grow. I want to double down on some of the things you said. I'm talking to retailers. That maybe they're not seeing as much foot traffic as they'd like because they'd always want more. But
Sure.
if they're doing the right things, the foot traffic is going up. And as part of NRF every year, I do the some of the store tours. Go around and see what the technology is in some of the stores in the New York City area, right down there, Times Square and other places, and some cool stuff coming in, some cool stuff that I saw being talked about in some of these store tours 3 years ago now are making their way into the mainstream.
Yeah.
Retail media networks being one of them.
Yep.
I feel like I need to brush up and get a little more dangerous on
Yeah.
RMN. I had people stopping me because our booth, we had some of that stuff there. We were talking about it. We were showcasing it. And I have people coming up to me and asking me very, very pointed questions. Ivy, can you help me here? I'll get better, right? But no, that's right. It was a big topic there, and the food service as well. So we talked about this a number of times, whether it's at NRF or NRA or other things, the blurring of the lines, drawing corollaries between different industries. So we've seen over recent years, convenience store kind of come into that restaurant space as well, having that, and now we're seeing restaurant now coming into the retail space. And why is that? What they're trying to do is create a tailored experiences based off of data for their customers, which retail has been really, really good at, creating those, physical emotions inside of a store based off technology. And now restaurants trying to do that. It also had the, other distinction of we could smell fries the whole time because they were running fryers. It's almost like we were at NRA or NACT or some other show, but it brought me back a little bit. But I like that because the organizations that have been continuing to grow that, we're very close with them. They're colleagues, peers, and friends of mine that do that, and I'm excited to see where that's going to go. If you remember, just 2 years ago it was an idea. Last year it really had its own space, and this year now it's an entire area, and it's going to continue to grow. And I think it's great what they're doing there, and just showing it's national retail. But if you think about it, it's really about any ways that businesses can interact with customers, create experiences for customers, leverage technology. They're going to share ideas. I think it's a great thing there. So that that was my first days, and walking in after doing show tours, after doing a couple of the pre-event conferences, we get into the show. You do that sigh of collective relief that, oh my gosh, the booth actually came up. All the stuff's working, right?
It's up and running.
But we got to have a lot of conversations with a lot of people, whether it was new technology companies, partner companies of ours, retailers, restaurateurs coming through. What were there's a lot. What are some of the key trends? And I'm gonna stop you in the beginning here to say AI is a key trend. We know that, right? That we've had it. We've already had a podcast on that. Maybe we'll probably have 100 more, but that was a prevailing trend. But aside from that, right, what were some of the conversations that that you expected, that you liked, and that we talked about while we were there, but also maybe some of the ones that were like, huh, that was an interesting conversation, right?
Yeah, one of the you actually touched on something that I think is a challenge at NRF in general, and it was even more of a challenge this year, which is NRF more than ever right now is bursting at the seams in Javits.
Oh yeah.
And so every inch of space is something. And that is relative to one of the prevailing thoughts that I have about something that one of my colleagues in the industry, some of the listeners may know Stu Armstrong from a consulting firm here in the digital industry and has been around the market for many years. He asked me this question of how the show has changed over the many years that I've been there. By the way, I'm pretty sure this was my 17th NRF. So, yeah. So one of the things that I said to him, which I thought was really key to that conversation, and it's a prevailing thought to where is retail going, is back in the day, NRF was so hyper focused on big pieces of infrastructure. The JDAs of the world, the Microsofts of the world, the Intels and HPs and IBMs, and those folks still exist, right? They're still there, they're still on the floor, they still have big presence. However, the retail customer journey has become so much broader than walk in my brick and mortar and have an experience with me, that now NRF has shifted to all of these subsequent technologies that are part of the greater customer experience.
Right.
Whether it's web and mobile technology, management technologies, the SOTIs of the world, or even interface app, technologies. Or if it's attributable data collection technologies that are out there for first party data, or it's tracking and analytics. We're seeing more and more of that in all facets of retail and restaurant, by the way. But I think what's actually happening now is, to some extent, I feel bad in some respects for the technology leaders at these retailers, because the breadth of what they now have to look at in 3 days in NRF is just almost insurmountable.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's almost something that you can't tackle, and to be able to make categorized decisions about, my business needs this, my business doesn't need this, or I need these 5 things. How do I figure out what the top 3 of them are in this wave of landscape? So I think that's the prevailing side, is the technology has become so much more broad in nature. It's no longer picking an ERP and a staff management application and a POS. It is now picking 10 subsequent pieces of technology that are going to assist you in somewhere, in some way or another, some at the brick and mortar and some never touching the brick and mortar. And that's a whole different challenge for the attendees and for the folks showing.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say that if somebody is, at NRF or any one of these big shows, for instance, and you're having a conversation with them, or they're having a conversation with, platform partner X, ecosystem partner Y, widget maker, it's not for today, right? They're looking for the future. They're probably already with a solution, in a contract for a solution. Right. They've got long-term strategies that they're trying to see, does this align to? They're definitely looking for tomorrow most of the time, right? So a lot of what I found and what a lot of people have said that have been extremely beneficial to them was the keynotes, the things that they hear, the panels, seeing specific use cases inside of booths and displays of how to solve for problems differently than they've seen how to solve for them before. You never want to be first. So they want to see that a partner's already doing it or a customer's already dipped their toes in it. And whether they were successful or not, they're going to learn a lot from that. So, this truly is, for most organizations out there, NRF is that, what do I need to be focusing on today that is going to be an integral part of my business tomorrow, 12, 24 months, sometimes in a shorter window. And it's interesting. You say that, it's so true that you cannot do, it's like Disneyland. You can't do it all in one day, right? or even one trip. I've had the last 2 years, I don't think I've been to 17, but I've been to a lot. And the last 2 years, I've had some folks in the industry that are, in retail or restaurant. They've gone for the first time, ask me, hey, what should I do? Where should I go? One, it's, year one, you are going to be running around like crazy. You're not going to be knowing where you need to go. I'll give you some hints, give you some, guidance, but really it's just kind of take it all in, get the lay of the land. Ask yourself what you are trying to accomplish at this show. Go to a couple of your core partners, you get some guidance from them, and then just go see what's out there. Just, you got to try a little bit of everything, but you're not going to get it all in at once. And then go back that next year. And then you will be very surprised at how much more comfortable you are. You know exactly what you're looking for. You know what you want to go see, and then you can get that done, and then go take in all the new things. But what has changed from last year? So it's such a big show. You got to have a plan going in that first year. You are just, deer in the headlights kind of thing. So I want to touch. What you talked about is the nuanced type technology that's going into some of these physical retail locations, data analytics, some of that stuff. I saw some of the panels talking about just how much they've increased their sales, their bottom line, their lift from doing, personalization of experiences. Some of strikingly high increases if they did hyper personalization of experiences, upwards of 25%. And that's in multiple categories, 25% higher unique in-store sales. They've never seen these people before, and it's just there. And then 25% of capture. So they're moving it away from a competitor or something else and moving it back into theirs. So this hyper personalization, using data for good, how do we capture that? Now they're looking for more ways to capture and correlate data. That was one of the biggest things that I saw of just augmenting existing technology with data capture tools, data correlation tools, all of those things that you discussed before. We're really starting to see them. They were cool. We're going to figure out how we're going to use them, but now they are using them, and they are increasing bottom line. That way, even if they're only at 80 to 90% of the foot traffic they had a couple of years ago, that customer is now 1.5 times more valuable than they were before. And so that's an extremely important thing that they're leveraging technology for, is getting a larger share of wallet while making sure that the experience that they serve for that customer is going to keep them coming back, because they're more valuable than they've ever been.
Yes. And I think I actually had two very interesting conversations on the show floor, one on the show floor, one off, about capturing that person who does not transact on that day. And this concept of, hey, I walk in, I look around, I don't see what I want, I leave. Can that organization still have a secondary communication path with me, that because of the data that they know, and because of the infrastructure that they have, and because of it very much, what one of the guys he used the idea of like a real cookie, right? Versus the virtual cookie. Right. So this idea of, hey, the cookie virtually follows me. They're going to know more. They're going to find me on Instagram. They're going to find me in social platforms or on email. And how can I now use all of this data subset that I have and these tools that I have that are readily available? And how can I create almost a following experience if I've not made a purchase, or if I have? How do I make that more valuable to that customer? To your point, to get them to return. Right. Whether it's for the first purchase or more of the same, right, or multiple purchases. That's really where those retailers are trying to win.
Agreed. And you bring up a good point of, if they didn't make a purchase with me, but they did come into my store or near my store, what were the reasons that, one, they didn't shop with me, and two, how could I get them back? We've seen this a lot with, something like your favorite electronic stores that are out there, that they were, over the last several years, it was, it's called Boris, buy online, but research in store. So you go in, I want to pick it up. I want to touch it, see it. It's going to fit my space. Do I like this? Knowing full well that you're not going to buy it there. You have no incentive to buy it there. You just want to go see it beforehand. But But I'm going to be honest with you, Ivy. I have been, much more prevalent with I could get tomorrow shipping, but I want it right now. And there's been a lot of incentivization, to come in here. You get another incentive for buying it here. You're 10% off this time, discount code, loyalty, all of these things. I'm a sucker for that, because if I'm going to continue to buy technology, and I have a lot of technology, I want to make sure that my loyalty is valued. And when I walk in there, I always end up leaving with something else now, because they've got a lot of good creative ways that a lot of these places like a Best Buy or others have redone how their stores are set up. That when I'm going to pick up that product, when I'm being led through an area where it's almost like they tailored this for me. I didn't need didn't need those headphones. I didn't need that drone, right? But I picked it up because it was on the way to something else I was already buying. So the Boris, buy online, research and store. Maybe I didn't go buy that product that I was researching in store. Maybe I did find another deal somewhere else. But because they got me through the app, they got me through a targeted ad, they got me when I drove by something else, I stop in, I go look, and maybe I pick up something else. So what we're seeing is these augmented type experiences that is moving, previous Boris shoppers back into in-store shoppers or BOPIS shoppers. It's moving them back into the camps of these stores. So, foot traffic maybe not be picking up, but again, it goes back to that customer that I was going in to buy one thing. I bought three things. Now I'm 1.5, 2, 3 times, more valuable of a customer to them. And a lot of that's through technology. A lot of it is through leveraging data and hyper tailoring experiences, but also marketing towards their consumers.
Yeah. And if you take that even one step further and you think about, where we started this, or where I started my comments about the first day with the RMN conference, one of the things that got discussed extensively there was an augmentation of ROAS, which we've talked about before, right? Return on an ad spend. Now there's a big discussion around iROAS, incremental return on ad spend. Okay. And it's this idea, to your point, how can I augment that experience? And this isn't the exact definition, but this is kind of the translation of it. How can I augment an experience where someone might have been looking to do a Boris, right? Walk in and do some research, or they were coming in for something else. And how can I attract them into an incremental buy that's beyond where they were going? Those types of things are becoming a much bigger discussion that leads the customer most likely into a purchase at store. That's a big deal for those advertisers, right? Yeah. It's a huge deal. So if they can make a directed a plea or request online to say, hey, come into the store, this is what you will receive, and then make that same messaging inside, because they have this data traffic that's across all of it, that becomes a much more valuable experience for all parties, right? In the end, the customer wins there, which means everybody wins in that process. So.
Yeah, that was, I still feel like we've moved past omni-channel into unified commerce, but the at the heart of omni-channel was, getting my brand out there and being seen in as many avenues as possible. And the goal of it, in my mind, I've talked about for a while, is not just influencing the point of purchase, it's influencing the path of purchase, the journey, right? So how do we get there is just as important as how they purchased it, how they get there. How did you, so capitalize on that. So that's, that's one of the things I saw. I'll go back to, AI because I did go to the AI and retail conference, and there were some interesting insights. It's after NRF, so you got the pre-events, the event, and then you go after the event. It's like a 15-hour day, but you're basically burned out by that time. But I did get some good insights. Diebold and a couple other organizations really started to cut to the heart of, what we're really trying to do and what we're really trying to say. And some people just don't want to say it. Sometimes the consumers don't know what they want. It's an abundance of choice, right? And so we can't always trust that all of the consumers are always going to know what they want all the time. Sometimes that decision just has to be made for them. Limit the options, but getting it in front of them, gauging what the interest is, and then we can shift it there. But there's analysis paralysis that happens in retail all the time, where there's way too many options. And if you look at some of the most successful marketing campaigns over the last several years, it's simplified messaging. It's not 100 things, it's 5 things, and that creates almost this scarcity effect. There's not, right? You have a lot of these 5 products, but it creates that scarcity effect of, you don't have so many things to choose from, and you have that impulse buy. But what it also does is, when you simplify what you're selling, you're able to hone that in a whole lot more. So it's way more consistent delivery for the customer. And so what we're seeing is, a lot of the technology investments that these organizations are making now is getting to that consistency, getting to that efficient, getting to be able to deliver these experiences better every single time for the customer, versus 100 different things that are out there that is competing for my attention span, right?
Yeah.
Hone me in on one thing. So I saw, a lot of technology being focused on that going into it, but we're we're past NRF now. We're going into, the rest of the year. There's a whole lot more shows. There's a whole lot more things to do. I love NRF because it is, you come out of a holiday lull. It's you're getting you're right back into it, right? And you're getting a clear picture of, where your objective should be for the rest of the year, both us as technologists, right, as partners, helping in the ecosystem, but where some of our, our customers and our partners out there are thinking for the rest of the year. So
exactly. Well, before we end, we have to have a little bit of dessert. And I NRF we did a lot of things. I think we just covered a whole bunch of things we did, but one of the things that I have to say congratulations for is you closed the week with a little award.
Oh yeah,
you were named top retail expert for Rethink Retail. So thank you for helping to lead with our customers and in the market, but also congratulations. It's a great recognition, and I was glad to see you be able to be up there and receive that. So great way to end the week, right?
Yeah,
great way.
I appreciate that. Yeah, that the trophy was heavier than I thought it would. The award was heavier. I almost dropped it. I mean, it's a good 15 pounds. It feels like.
There you go.
Now it's good that coincided with the the Rethink Retail Gala and the AI and Retail Conference and all. It was great to be around peers, people in the industry, both from the the retail operator side, but also the technology side. It's a great group of folks to be around. So I'm humbled to be part of that group. Continue to be part of that group. Hold that torch and let's keep it going. Let's keep that momentum going into the rest of the year, my friend.
That's right. Looking forward to the rest of 2025 and what retail brings us.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, Court.
Thanks, Ivy. Thanks for tuning in to the Phygital Dish, where the physical and digital worlds collide, transforming businesses and the consumer experience. We hope today's episode left you full with insights you need to stay ahead in this evolving landscape. But don't forget to subscribe, share, and bring your appetite next time for another serving of expert advice and innovations from the intersection of technology and business. Until next time, here's to staying connected, staying hungry for innovation, and keeping it phygital.